Paul Salmon of WGBH Boston has the boxing story.
Saturday night in Las Vegas, a dream rematch for the heavyweight championship of the world. Reigning champ and 34-year-old crowd hero Evander Holyfield against the man he took the crown from, convicted felon and crowd villain Iron Mike Tyson, who turned 31 today. The fight began conventionally enough. It ended in surrealism. This fight was supposed to help return boxing to its glory days, when Muhammad Ali enthralled the world with his skills, his personality, his ability to promote his latest matchup as the fight of the century.
And you wait, all knees shall bow when I get the gorilla in Manila.
For all the brutality of their sport, heavyweights like Ali and George Foreman, like many before them, had become American folk heroes. And then, in the 1980s, along came Mike Tyson. A street hood from Brooklyn as a kid, Tyson soon became a great boxer, the youngest ever to win the World Heavyweight Championship at age 20.
Mike, you think you'll be able to handle prison time, Mike?
But in 1992, a rape conviction put him behind bars for 3 years. Boxing was without its most menacing, most famous box office attraction. So when Tyson left prison and began winning again in 1995, there was new hope. And when he lost to former Olympic and world champ Evander Holyfield last year, it only fueled interest in Saturday's rematch. Saturday's fight began with Holyfield winning rounds 1 and 2. But in the second, the men butted heads, opening a gash over Tyson's right eye. He cried foul. The ref said it was an accident. Then in round 3, Tyson did the unimaginable, chewing through a piece of Holyfield's right ear and spitting it into the ring. He was penalized and warned. Seconds later, he bit the champ's left ear. When the ref disqualified Tyson, he went wild, even swinging at a police officer trying to restrain him. After the fight, Holyfield had this to say.
The whole thing is that there's just an easy way to get out of the fight, the foul, because you know you're going to get disqualified instead of fighting through. That don't show no courage whatsoever. Everybody know how to get out of the fight. All you got to do is foul. You'll get yourself out. Then you can say, well, he didn't beat me.
Tyson, still visibly upset, gave his side of the story.
As soon as he butt me, I watched him. He had me holding, and he looked right at me, and I saw him, and he was going for, and he kept going for, and he butted me again. He kept going down and coming up, and he charged into me. And no one warned him. No one took any points for him. What am I to do? This is my career. I can't continue getting butted like that. I got children to raise, and this guy keeps butting me, trying to cut me and get me stopped on cut. I got to retaliate.
President Clinton, an admitted boxing fan, had his own reaction.
I saw the fight, and until what happened, it was a good fight, and I was horrified by it, and I think the American people are.
While newspapers across the country wallpapered their front pages with the fight, Tyson faces possible suspension and a fine of up to $3 million, which would still leave $27 million for the fight. Holyfield is due for reconstructive surgery on his ear and will make $35 million. And Showtime will rebroadcast the fight on July 7th. Finally, about an hour ago, Tyson apologized.
Saturday night was the worst night of my professional career as a boxer, and I'm here to apologize today, to ask the people to the people that expect more from Mike Tyson to forgive me for snapping in the ring, and doing something that I've never done before and will never do again. I apologize to the world, to my family, and to the Nevada State Athletic Commission. I just snapped and reacted and did what many athletes have done and had paid the price for it. You have seen it in basketball with fist fights on the floor, in baseball with riots on the field, and even spitting in the face of an official. For an athlete in the heat of battle to suddenly lose it, it's not new, but it's not right. And for me, it doesn't change anything. I was wrong. And I expect to pay the price like a man.
Now to discuss the implications of all this, we're joined by Bert Sugar, a sports writer and boxing historian, and Steve Buckley, a sports columnist for the Boston Herald. Gentlemen, welcome to you both. Mr. Buckley, what does the fight and the apology say about boxing?
The apology says nothing to me because it was a prepared statement. I find it ludicrous that he would bring in Robbie Alamar's spitting incident last year.
That's in baseball, the guy.
In baseball. What the fight proves is something I've felt for a long time, and I may be in the minority, I don't know, is that I think boxing is a sham. I put it right down there with maybe not the outcome, but the whole pageantry and everything that goes into it. I put it right down with professional wrestling and roller derby, and with all the training that we as sports writers have. What are we talking about? We're talking about a man that bit another man's ear. I find that reprehensible.
Mr. Sugar, how do you respond to that? You've been a sports writer and boxing writer for a very long time.
Well, the first part of his statement I agree with. I think the apology excused everything but the attack on Pearl Harbor. I mean, it was just they swept everything in. As to boxing being down there with roller derby at its best moments, no. It is a beautiful sport. At its worst moments, he's right. But boxing has rules. Society has rules. You must adhere to those rules. You can't do what Mike Tyson did, and I think that he was wrong. Apologies don't wash it out, and boxing, well, it'll go on. It has suffered black eyes, black ears, whatever, throughout its history. It is traditionally a great sport. It is sociologically a way for the kids to get out of the ghetto, nabe, barrio, tenement, whatever. This was terrible. This was reprehensible. This was beyond it.
Is it a legitimate sport anymore, Mr. Buckley?
Well, the sport is. What's happened to the sport is not. In terms of getting out of the barrio and the ghetto and all this, keep in mind that pro football, pro basketball, hockey, there are so many more venues now for kids to escape to from these places.
Right.
And I don't think boxing is getting the greatest athletes anymore. The problem I have with boxing, is that they can take any event, and through clever marketing and TV and pay-per-view and all that, they can make it something far more than what it is. This Tyson McNeeley thing a few years back was an absolute embarrassment.
What do you mean by that?
Tyson coming out of jail and fighting Peter McNeeley, who is a ham and egger, turning it into a big comeback fight. If that was another sport, the athlete in question would be doing some kind of rehabilitation project in the minor leagues and getting back in sync, as opposed to turning it into a big world event.
Well, you're suggesting it's fake? I mean, if you're comparing it to roller
it's not
derby.
fake. I don't think that the outcome is fake, though. That's certainly been in question a number of times. I can name lots of fights that I've seen where the setup of the fight has been in question. The outcome is never in doubt. I covered a Marvin Hagler fight once. I forget who he was supposed to fight before he beat Alan Minter for the middleweight title in 1980. The opponent he was to have fought bowed out from some injury or something. All of a sudden, they line up Bobby Boogaloo Watts, and they term it a grudge match because he had beaten Hagler earlier in his career. And now it's a big grudge match. It's what they make of it. We all knew Hagler was going to win. That was never in doubt. It's what they turned it into that I found.
So somewhat fake, I mean, in the sense of...
The outcome was in doubt, but you kind of knew who was going to win. It wasn't like it was predetermined, but this was a farce, this particular fight, and I've seen too many of those over the years.
So, Mr. Sugar, what do you like about boxing?
Well, I'm asking Mr. Buckley, while he looks at pro basketball and pro football as a way out, I don't see every kid standing in the doorway asking to get out 7 foot tall or 310 pounds. Boxing does have aspects. I appreciate your point. I think you overstated it. I love boxing. I love mano a mano. If you have a little boy, at the age of 1, he balls up his fists. If you have a little girl at the age of 1, she cries. It's primordial. It's there, and at its best, it's balletic. At its worst,
poetic?
Yes, balletic, not poetic.
Oh, balletic. So
Yeah,
like a ballet. How do you?
I mean,
explain what you mean?
Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali, some of these fighters, Sugar Ray Robinson, were brilliant and beautiful to watch. At its worst, it is a brutal, horrible sport. But let me just go to another point Mr. Buckley made. America's into pageantry. They don't call the Super Bowl a football game. It's the Super Bowl. And 1984 was the last time the American Football Conference won. It's still a big game. Yes, there is something in football that evens it up. It's called the point spread. So it doesn't matter who wins as long as you bet with the bookies and have the right points. But it's not just a game, it is the game. It's an event. Americans buy events. I love the trapping. A heavyweight championship fight, an event.
So how important is pageantry then? This is pageantry, this isn't sport, or I take it that that's part of what
Well,
Mr. Sugar is saying.
I'm misunderstood. I thought I came here to talk sports tonight. Now we're talking events. And I think what Mr. Sugar did was make my point for me, is that you can take anything and put it inside that ring, aim the cameras at it, turn it into an event, have pay-per-view audiences, bring in Sly Stallone and Michael Keaton and all the celebrities. And
who were sitting at ringside.
Turn up the volume and make it an event. And I submit that many of these events are nothing of the kind.
Nothing of the kind in the sense of being sporting events.
And in the sense of being important, in the sense of being compelling, in the sense of being historic. Was what we saw Saturday night historic? I don't think so.
Well, I mean, it was certainly unusual.
It was historic in the sense that we were all laughing at it. Now, and why are we sitting here now discussing the future of boxing? Apparently, and by the way, given my own designs, I'd get rid of the sport because I think it's barbaric. But why are we sitting here now discussing the future of boxing because a guy bit a guy's ear off? And shouldn't we have done it a few years back? And it happens all the time where guys get killed inside the ring. Isn't that the right platform to be discussing the future of boxing and not this nonsense?
Well, so Mr. Sugar, should boxing be banned then?
I think we did this a couple years ago, and even the AMA, though Mr. Buckley didn't back off. No. Period. End of paragraph. I can give you all the reasons. We don't have enough time.
Well, give me a couple of reasons anyway. Give us a couple of reasons.
Well, first of all, it has given a tremendous amount of opportunity to people. It is a legitimate, on a given level. Mr. Buckley is right about one thing. Sometimes there are mismatches. I've seen them. They're called the Boston Red Sox against anybody in the American League.
I mean, unkind, Mr.
Yeah, well, it happens in other sports. I don't know why he is singled out as if it doesn't happen in other sports.
Well, nobody bites anybody's ear in other sports, Mr. Sugar.
Well, I've seen people bite Conrad Dobler. I've seen get bitten by Leroy Jordan in a football game. It happens. No, the ear was sad. That transcended anything I could ever. I'm not pretending to apologize for that, please. What I am saying is that boxing is, albeit admittedly so, it is legalized assault. So is pro football in the trenches. Ask the guys who play.
Well, what do you say to somebody who thinks it was a disgusting spectacle on Saturday night, or who just saw in slow motion what happened and thinks it was just revolting?
I would say they're right. How's that? I'm not an apologist up and down the line. I stand for the sport. I love the sport. That wasn't a sport. That was mayhem, pure and simple.
And Mr. Buckley, how do you respond to someone who would just be completely revolted by what they just even saw on our show?
I agree with his answer. It was mayhem, pure and simple, but doesn't surprise me. You teach these guys, you teach these boxers to get in there and win and fight and kill. Burgess Meredith telling Rocky, eye of the tiger and all that. So the boxer did his job, and maybe he overdid it. And that's what happens.
All right. Well, thanks very much, both of you.
Well,
Okay. Rick, you've seen the atmosphere here. How would you best describe it?
Very Las Vegas, I think is the best way I can put it. Everybody knows this is not a real fight, but by the same token, everybody knows that there's a lot of celebrities, that this is an event that a lot of people around the world are watching. And because of that, there's kind of this natural weight, because people are watching, more people are watching. And I really think that a lot of people in this world want to see the first 15 seconds of Mike Tyson in the ring throwing punches. And they want to see his first victim.
What is the attraction to him? What the image that he portrays that attracts people from all walks of life to come and see him?
He's the bad guy, you know, and I remember the movie Scarface with Al Pacino, and he says, you know, I'm the bad guy. Say goodbye to the bad guy. We need a bad guy, and he is playing that bad guy role. We're fascinated also by his apparent sensitivity and this going to prison, the kind of book learning. We're not sure who this guy is. Is he schizophrenic? What is he? But there is a fascination with what is essentially a great American bad guy.
And just to talk about a little bit more about that, you know, he gets out of jail and he gets signed to a huge contract by MGM. He's probably going to break all kinds of pay-per-view records. Again, what is it with the bad guy image, and especially when it comes to him?
Well, I think people also like the fact that somebody can have the life that he has had. I think you never talk about Mike Tyson without talking about Cus D'Amato, or about Jimmy Jacobs, about his background of being essentially a street kid, and you never talk about him without saying that he's the youngest heavyweight champ ever, and that he was such a brute. When he was fighting all those fights early in his career, he just came out like this machine and just devastated people. And that captured this real primal thing in a lot of Americans, a lot of people around the world. And now that he's gone to prison, a lot of people want to see if that's back, because as much as we always say we detest boxing, there's something voyeuristic about it. We peek. We don't want to. We're embarrassed to say we like it, but we really do. And Mike Tyson is the embodiment of a boxer.
Great. Thank you. Perfect.
Yep.
One at a time, back up a little.
No, him!
Have your bags open, take your time, please. Okay. One at a time, back up. One at a time. Okay. Sir, the other side. Keys on this side, You're reaching behind it, see? One at a time now, come on. Need to back up just a little bit. You're too close to the thing here. Okay. Okay.
That's his pain.
Okay.
Very good.
This is Team 2 at the metal detector. Where are they taking the video camera? You got to check the video. You have to check the video camera. Wait a minute. Right around the corner there. Yeah, really. Pay off 300 people. About 7.
Anytime. Bill, what is the attraction to Mike Tyson? What is it about his image that attracts people to this fight?
Well, I think it's a fatal attraction. I think Americans love to, they like really good people and they like really bad people. That's why Jesse James and Dillinger and those names are still alive in the annals of crime. And I think even before he had his rape conviction, Mike Tyson was perceived as somebody you just wouldn't want to run into in a dark alley or even a brightly lit alley. And there's that aura of power, that aura of unbridled energy and savagery, which after all is the driving force behind professional boxing. And when you package this behind the Don King publicity machine, it just becomes a runaway train. And we get swept up, and I can't believe the interest there is in this fight. I'm here as a columnist to report and give my opinion on what this guy has left, what 3 years of prison has done for him. But I can't believe walking around the halls of this enormous upholstered sewer called the MGM Grand, where there right now are about 150,000 people, all crammed trying to get in, through security and all that. I can't believe the interest that's here and the number of people that are willing to pay this kind of money to see this guy fight, the guy who should have a mattress on his back, hollering ringside service.
That's great.
Okay, come on, sir. Fine, thank you. All right, drop, please. Take your belt buckle there. Okay, thank you. Oh, it's not to go anyplace, will it? You can hold on. This set it off.
Okay, I didn't.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, sir. Arms up, please, sir. Out. Hand in there. Okay, thank you. Pam, come on through. Get the person on this side. Okay, thank you. Sir. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, sir. Arms up. Right over here. Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir.
I'm scared to have my kitchen talk. Where we are? CNN? Okay. All right. Keep them going. Keep them going. Where we go? All right. Follow them.
How's it going tonight?
Real good. Real good.
Never been to Hey fellas, what do you like? Eric.
Hey.
Eric.
How you doing?
You guys have paid attention.
Are we pumped yet?
Laterally. You might have a shot. What's your
Hey.
How are you? Quick
Hey.
question.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good.
What is it about Mike Tyson that brings people from all different parts of society
if you need
together? Why is everyone here to see Mike Tyson?
I thought they were here to see you.
No.
Oh,
Go ahead and kill
okay.
that.
I don't know.
That's good. That's funny. What was the question? I'm sorry.
What is it about Mike Tyson that brings people together? And there's all kinds of different people here that come to see him.
Well, I find anytime someone gets out of prison, people come together. Don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I have no idea. He's an exciting fighter. He's one of the best to ever step in the ring, and I think he's exciting to watch. And my guess is he's going to come out victorious tonight.
Boxing has been pretty boring the last 4 years, so hopefully there'll be some excitement.
With Tyson back, it's a definite new ballgame?
Yep, I think so.
I'm going to tell Riddick Bowe you said that.
Thanks, guys.
I'm going to tell Riddick Bowe you said that.
Thanks.
It was really just sort of a serendipitous event. I mean, I got invited, so I decided to come.
What is it about Mike Tyson that brings so many people out? I mean, this is just a throng of people out here from all walks of life. What is it about the personality of Tyson that does that?
Well, you know, I'm theorizing, this is all going to sound pretentious, but I think that he was a great champion. We all had a lot of high hopes for this guy. He was a young man, he was an incredible fighter, had a great story, you know, he was kind of plucked from bad, a bad situation. And but he's a bright guy, and I think we all had hopes that he would maybe take on the mantle that Ali had. Maybe he's not quite as poetic as Ali, but you know, that he would become that kind of icon. And then, you know, he was convicted of doing some really bad things. He did his time. He's supposedly paid his debt to society. So I think there are a lot of people that want him to get back on the right track and see him, you know, fulfill the potential that we all thought he had.
Why do you think people are attracted to Tyson, though? I mean, what is it about his personality? Why do people love him? I mean, people must love the guy.
I can't say. I mean, I thought I did just say that. You know, I think it's, you know, we want to see his potential fulfilled. I mean, it's, you know, it's American dream stuff. It's all that, you know, archetypal stuff. Guy that grows up in the ghetto and has a lousy thing, and he rises to become champion of the world or something. It's, you know.
Good deal.
Thank you.
Hey, David. Good morning, America. A couple questions?
Yeah, hi, sure.
How you doing?
Hi, how you doing?
Good. What is it about Mike Tyson that brings so many people out together from all walks of life? You got celebrities, you got your average Joe, you got everyone. What is it about Tyson?
He represents a lot of things, Mike Tyson. I think he represents the American dream of the guy who comes out of the gutter, pulls himself up and becomes somebody. He has the dream of having no money to being one of the wealthiest. He has that animalistic, that brutality, that macho thing going for him. He's silent. You know, he's a quiet man. He's a very intelligent man behind all that muscle. So he has all these interesting aspects. And besides, he just did his time, and this is his comeback. And that comeback has excitement. So that's a perfect ingredient for a prize like this.
What is it about this spectacle that brought you out? I mean, do you like this whole hubbub and all that?
I like two things. I like the event, the hubbub, and the excitement. Plus, I'm a major fight fan, so I come to all the fights. I saw Mike Tyson fight before he was a champ. I was there when he won the championship. I saw many of his other fights, and I'm a fight fan. But I also like the hullabaloo. Hey, I'm in show business. This is show business. It's boxing business. At least there's no strike. You don't see boxers going on strike, do you? Okay.
Not recently.
No.
Excellent. Thanks, David.
Okay, sure.
Appreciate it. What is it about Mike Tyson that brings people from all walks of life together for this big, gigantic, crazy event?
His eyes? No, I don't know. He's a good fighter.
What brings people out? What is it about him, the personality, you think?
I don't know. I just think every guy has a deep seated fear of Mike Tyson. And so they just want to come see the nightmare, you know? They just want to see the guy that they don't want to run into. They don't want to have to handle for the little woman.
So what's McNeeley going to look like after the fight? Do you have any idea?
You want me to do a face here, don't you? Yeah, right, pal.
Hi, how you doing? The energy?
Jeez, only in dance. So we can watch them years from now going, long distance, next best thing to being there.
What? Hello?
Okay, good. Thanks.
Have a good I don't know what it is. I know. It's just strange. I like to see two guys getting
What is it about Mike Tyson that brings all these different kinds of people out together like this?
Well, he is the biggest star in the world, and this is his first time fighting in a long time, so everybody's curious. All the fight fans are curious. Yeah. Let this last for more than...
Yeah, I'd like to see him have a tune-up. I'd like to see him
Yeah,
fight a little bit.
stay
get in
for a
touch
little
with the
while.
rest. You
Yeah.
know he's rusty.
Yeah, I was thinking, if
5
you're
or
off for
6
3
rounds.
years...
Yeah. But I don't think that's what's going to happen because I think he's so angry.
Yeah.
Why are you here? Why did you come out for all this hubbub? What do you like about this?
Well, it's not the hubbub that I'm here for. I come here to see Mike Tyson fight.
What is it about Mike Tyson that brings so many people out from all walks of life? What is it about his personality, you think? Why are people here?
Well, I think that heavyweight champions, the heavyweight championship is a very big thing. It's the biggest thing in terms of fighting. And I think that heavyweight champions and the way, the fact that they knock people out is always impressive. But I think there's something about the way Mike Tyson goes about fighting that has caused the public to have like a love-hate relationship with him. I think people love to watch him fight, and it's very impressive. I think he frightens people. I think he scares people. I don't think people were afraid of Muhammad Ali, but I think people feel afraid of Mike Tyson, and there's something about that
People are attracted to his menacing quality or something? Or what
and there's great skill.
Yeah. Excellent. Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it. Roy, what is it about Mike Tyson that brings so many different types of people out together to watch him? What is it about his personality? What draws people to him?
He's the most compelling boxer that we've seen probably, and we really have to include George Foreman, including George Foreman, the most compelling boxer we've seen in this generation, really, since Muhammad Ali retired. It brings back primal issues. People want to see a guy who devastates. They don't want to see dancing and flying and cute. They want to see the real thing. It's very urban. It's very black, and that's fine. It appeals to people viscerally. He appeals to people viscerally. They want to see a guy out there who's a killer, and he's a killer. And some love to hate him now. Some still support him. The fact is, add those two, and you get quite an audience. He's also a great fighter, great talent, and we're going to see him around a long time.
Good deal. That's really what we needed. Perfect. Thanks, Roy. Steve. Larry, what is it about?
Good morning, America.
What is it about Mike Tyson that brings so many people of different backgrounds together to watch him? What is it about his personality?
He's special. It's very hard to define what makes someone in sports special, but he is one of those people that just have the charisma of they are them. There's no one like him in boxing. There's no one like him. And when someone can be unique, we all are attracted. Something about it attracts us to them. Evil, good, bad, nice. It's a quality, you can't pin it down.
So why are you here? You a fight fan, or what's your
I like all
attraction?
sports, and I interviewed him last week for an hour and had a real good time, and Don King asked if I wanted to come to the fight, and I came.
Good deal. Thanks, Larry.
Thanks, guys.
Tim, what is it about Mike Tyson that brings so many people from different backgrounds together to watch him? What is it about his personality, do you think?
Tyson? Mike? Oh, Mike Tyson. This is the strangest thing. I asked this at Showtime, since I've done work for them for many years. They invited me here. I'm a little in awe of this whole thing. I guess it's because he's traveled a long distance in a rough road, and he's the best there is. I don't know much about fights. The last fight I was in, it was with my brother. So I came here because I'd never done this. I have never done this before. So that question is a good one, and I've been pondering this, looking at this, the billboards and the thing, and all the people here. It's a major event.
So besides the free beer, why are you here?
Well, nothing brings people together better than two men pummeling each other in the head and buttocks. No, I'm here because it's like auto race and anything else I've done in my life. I want to experience this thing, and they give me seats at ringside, so I get to see two men level each other. Am I going to like this? Is this something that I really want to do? I wonder if...
You mean this or the fight?
The fight. I wonder if I can heckle, too. Can you heckle fighters? Is that okay?
I think from a distance.
From a distance? Hey, yeah, nice shot, huh? My mom... No, don't get out of the ring. No, it's a joke.
Perfect. Thanks, Tim.
You bet. Okay.
How are you?
I'm good.
What is it about Mike Tyson that brings so many people out from different walks of life? What is it about his personality?
I would not be able to tell you on a bet. I have no idea. I think, whatever the event is tonight is it's definitely been well sold, and I guess I'm basically interested, I guess, in seeing Mike fight again. But
beyond the event,
I'm not a real follower of the sport. So.
What about Tyson's personality? Why are people drawn to him, do you think?
Well, I really have no idea.
And why are you here?
I'm from here and I made him.
You forced him at gunpoint.
It did sound like it'd be a fun night, you know.
Thanks.
Yeah. I can't answer questions about his personality.
That's okay.
Yeah. You know, a few words we said.
Analytical point of view.
I don't know if it's going to be a great fight. I hope it's a great fight. Mike looks awesome right now. Saw Mike before, and he's just never looked better. But it's a...
How are you? Good. Nice to meet you. What is it about Mike Tyson that brings people to him? Why are they drawn to Mike Tyson?
Well, there's a certain charismatic way that Mike has that I haven't seen in very many people. I mean, it's beyond even as a fighter. He's an incredible fighter. He's a great machine as a fighter, really. And that's all you can say. He's just an incredible fighter. But he's got a magnetism, and it's a personal magnetism, and he's fantastic. This is why everyone's here.
What made you come out? Are you a big fight fan? Or
Well, he's a
what is it
friend of
about him?
mine. He's been a friend of mine over the years. I thought he was very unfairly convicted. I never felt that what happened to him was right based on the various evidence and everything else. But he's a hell of a guy. He did it. He didn't complain. He didn't make lots of apologies. Other people would have sat in a corner and cried. This guy's tough. And he took it like a man, and he got out, and here he is back again. So we'll see what happens. But I think he's going to be very strong and very strongly back.
So he's back for good, do you think?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Have a good time.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Get 70, yes, you're going short for traffic. It's on short final. Okay. South 77, May, traffic is holding in position, cross 25 right, give way to the turbo, ground point 9er. Southwest 778, cleared cross right. Jet 708, runway 19 left taxi in position, hold. 19, 708.
Unless he taxis down this way.
Jet 708, runway 19 left, clear for takeoff. Clear for takeoff, 19 left, Jet 708. Lima Hotel, Las Vegas ground, taxi to Quail as requested. To the Quail, thanks. 5 to 6 for 3 minutes here. 3 for Bravo 5.
ticket specialty. While you're watching your game, when the Lord is looking at the field in Las Vegas. Rock on. It's a 15 Metro 6 hours. Can't get any more than